chief intelligence correspondent. Catherine Herridge is following all the developments and joins us now. Catherine, where are we at 5 o'clock?
Well, thank you. Law enforcement sources have confirmed to Fox News that President Trump's tweets caught the FBI and Justice Department off guard, and there was no prior consultation. Meantime, the Republican-controlled House and Senate Intelligence Committees are investigating Russia's election meddling and will cover whether the Obama administration abused its surveillance powers. We know there was at least one surveillance order from the secret court for the phone calls and text messages of the Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak. The former national security advisor Mike Flynn's phone calls and text messages were captured under that order. One contact believes that there was at least one other additional surveillance order that was not specific to Trump Tower or the Trump team, but it intersected with their activities and their operations. Meantime, a spokesman for President Obama said his administration has never ordered wiretapping and never interfered with a federal investigation. But Mr. Obama's repeated public statements about Hillary Clinton's mishandling of classified information last fall during the FBI investigation undercut that statement. And on Sunday, Mr. Obama's spy chief, the former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, denied there was a wiretap on Trump Tower and also confirmed that his investigation, led by the U.S. intelligence community, did not find evidence of collusion between Trump campaign associates and Russian intelligence. FBI Director James Comey is so frustrated about the leaks that a source tells Fox News that he's issued what's called a tasking order that asks his subordinates to identify who had access to surveillance warrants from the secret FISA court because it's a very small universe of individuals, Dana.
All right, thank you so much, Catherine. We appreciate it, and we'll be keeping in touch with her. Let's also listen to Sean Spicer today, the White House press secretary, when he was asked follow-ups about this issue.
The President's been very clear, as we've stated, that I think there's enough there that we want the House and Senate Intelligence to use the resources they do to make sure that they look into this matter. I mean, there's some, anyway, I do not want to get ahead of where they may go with this or what they may look at, but I'm going to leave it to them. If we start down the rabbit hole of discussing some of this stuff, I think that we end up in a very difficult place.
Well, starting down the rabbit hole with Saturday morning, and Kimberly, now we just found out that the House Intelligence Committee has asked the intelligence community to report to them by March 17th, which would be this Friday, so that they can yes, St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure, Bob, everybody was thinking of that. But that will help, hopefully, Kimberly, get some clarity on this, because sunshine might be the only way to get some answers.
Well, I think it's imperative at this point, right, that they're going to need to get some transparency, some clarity on this. These are very serious allegations, and if true, we need to find out exactly who was behind it, what was the genesis of it, what kind of probable cause or information that they have to warrant this type of request. So there's a lot of complex issues involved, and you saw the various
So are you talking about
as well, and I'm saying that there's so many different elements and aspects of this going on right now that they're going to have to really narrow down and focus, because at this point it looks like there's a lot of things that are at foot here that are in terms of like foul play, improper, some impropriety going forward.
But what about, Eric, that the FBI director yesterday, or on Saturday, asked the Justice Department to refute what the president had said in the morning, and then the Justice Department refuses to do it?
So I'm watching all this unfold over the weekend. I listened to President Obama's response from his spokesperson. It was very, very carefully worded. Left the door open that something could have been going on, clearly could have. Well, we know there was a FISA court request in, I believe, June or July over the summer. It was turned down, which is highly unusual. Literally thousands upon thousands of FISA court requests, warrants for wiretapping and surveillance go unchecked. They say, yes, it's almost a rubber stamp. For many, many years it would go like that. So in June or July it was turned down because there wasn't sufficient evidence, and then the second one was apparently accepted. Now, President Obama said that he didn't order it. I went back, and there's an article in the New York Times, and it happened to be published on January. You know, the same report in the New York Times, and it was explosive. He wrote an article that hit on January 20th that talked about an actual wiretap to the Trump Towers. Now, he didn't say to exactly Donald Trump, but if it's in the New York Times, I would think it would be sourced and second sourced. So clearly, at least Michael Schmidt thinks that there was a wiretap to the Trump Tower in October, which is exactly what Donald Trump is accusing them of.
All right. Greg, do you want to give your take before Bob explodes, or do you want to let Bob explode?
Well, I know if Bob explodes, then it'll be quite messy, and I will never talk for the rest of the hour. Okay, number one, this story has been retold so many times with so little information.
Yes.
It's like peas being strained 8 different ways. You can take it through a straw. I've heard the same angle retold 100 times. It's driving me crazy. The thing is, let's face it, Eric's right. President Obama, his administration are playing games with language. Sure, they didn't order it, but did not. Actually, I didn't. I sent my assistant out to get it. The only difference is I didn't go out. I didn't get out of the office and go and get it. But I still asked for it. That's if they sought it, it's no different really than ordering it.
I hope that fixes things.
No, it won't. But the other thing too is it is tough. You know, if you've ever owned a used old sports car, they're fun to drive, they're great to watch, but they're a pain in the butt to maintain. They run hot. That's Trump. He is the exotic sports cars of politicians. You like it, you love what you see, but you have to maintain him every single day. And that gets to my point of why this happened. So why did he tweet? What was the reason for the tweet? He was ticked off that he felt that his staff gave in to the Sessions thing too soon, that it was a sign of weakness. And so his anger manifested itself in a tweet. This is human. I've done this 4 times at Fox. When something at work bugs me, what do? I go on Twitter and I vent, and then I have tweet-gret. I wish I never did it. And I think that's what his Saturday tweet was, a manifestation of anger over what happened on Friday, because he had a great week with the speech. He felt the Sessions recusal ruined that moment. He was mad at his staff. So he did this tweet, and I don't think he recognized how big the tweet was going to land. I hand it over now to you, Bob, who are ready to bite my head off.
No. First of all, I want to apologize. My shirt doesn't fit. That's what they told me.
It's a good look.
Doesn't matter.
Prince Albert.
The chances of this being clarity on this are about the chance of me winning the Boston Marathon. I was in the 3rd FISA court in 1978. It was formed after the takeover of the, the Iranians were moving to take over our embassy. And the idea that you can get thousands of these things done is just total and complete bull.
What do you mean?
Wait, Bob,
You can't.
No, Bob, last year there were 1,589 requests.
Don't do it to yourself.
1,588 were accepted.
The guy is, don't do it to yourself.
One was turned down, Bob.
Listen,
Out of
Eric,
1,589.
Eric, let me explain something to you. In order to get a FISA judge to agree to a wiretap of a U.S. citizen requires proof, very strong proof of a felony or treason. Now, that means that Trump wants to get up to that. Now, wait a second. Let me finish.
The numbers don't bear that out.
Listen, why don't you get your pom-poms and guns and cheer for this guy?
Thousands of FISA court accepted. They give them out like
that.
If the NSA or the FBI or both come and say, we have probable cause.
This is not from the Beckel Almanac. I've been in a FISA court. I know what goes on, and you don't, and that's wrong.
So, are you questioning the numbers?
Yes, I question. And you know what? Here's the other thing. Very simple. There's a list of who got a FISA charge and who didn't. And a FISA judge can look into it and be asked to look into it, and they will find out, and there will be no Trump name on it. This guy is now almost to the point, and I have a very strong suggestion as an American. I think that he ought not have control of the nuclear codes. It ought to have Pence, him, and the Secretary of Defense, because this guy is starting to lose it.
Right. But why, let me ask you this, though, Kimberly.
Yeah,
why not?
please.
I understand a human moment in tweet, but now that you're the president of the United States and you're accusing your predecessor of a very serious allegation, of which then he denies. But if you're the president of the United States, you can call anybody at any time, call the Justice Department and say, I'd like you to come over here with those warrants. I want to see if the president asks for a warrant on me. Why not do that instead of causing this huge problem?
But by the way, you're 100% right, because he is now president of the United States, and he has the ability and the right and the authority to be able to investigate, to get a copy
of
any.
He do it?
Well, listen, I think that he should. I have no quarrel there. What I'm saying is I just don't think, okay, yeah, I think he was upset about what happened last week. That would be a normal reaction for someone to have. However, I am not going to say that there is no basis whatsoever for the information that he was tweeting out. I don't know. Because I haven't seen
Kimberly,
it. I want to know if
far
it exists.
too smart for that.
Yeah, you're right. And the point is that information, those applications, those motions are filed. There is a record of it.
That's
and it will say
correct.
who requested it. It will say what is the basis of it, what was any kind of probable cause for these allegations, why was one done before, and then supposedly
Right.
one
First of all, there was
granted
one
what
done
was
about
the change
economic
of
issues of the
information?
Trump Corporation.
Okay.
But all Trump's got to do is pick up the phone and say, "This President of the United States, please send me over the FISA list." He will find out there was no wiretapping. The guy got mad. Stu
Well, you
got
see,
mad.
the DOJ
Most
didn't
people
walk
take
it
their
back.
footballs and go home.
Hey, Bob. What? This New York Times piece on January 20th is titled "Wiretapped Data Used in Inquiry of Trump Aides." Okay, so here's aides. Well, okay, fine. But then it talks about the actual wiretap. It says the FBI is leading the investigations, aided by the NSA. I got it, and the CIA. But here's the line that implicates.
This is about the Russians.
Allow me. Here's the line that implicates the White House. One official said intelligence reports based on some of the wiretapped communications had been provided to the White House.
Of course.
So for President Obama to say that he has nothing to do with any wiretapping or any information gathering going on at Trump Tower,
the Russian
that's
investigation.
a very rich argument to be made.
That's the Russian investigation.
But Bob, it was done at the Trump Tower.
That's not the point.
Where the next
What Trump
president,
accused the President of the United States.
hold on. Where the next president had his war room, had his communication staff, had his whole life is tied up in Trump Tower. Are you kidding me?
Obama
it's like saying we're not tapping Greg Gutfeld, even though we're tapping the Fox News headquarters.
Obama and Trump exchanged information on the information that was coming in. And I will guarantee if Barack Obama did that, he'll have to go away for jail for the rest of his life. And I'll tell you one thing, Trump, if you guys continue to defend this guy on things like this, let's say he had a bad day, fine, take your football, go home. But don't accuse the President of the United States.
You're saying it's okay to tap.
I'm saying he's lying through his teeth.
Wiretap the entirety of Trump Tower. You say it's okay to wiretap that. And the president knows about it, and now that Trump says, hey, you tapped it, and you go, no?
This is Eric, come on. He said the President of the United States wiretapped him. The wiretap was in there about economic issues between the Trump Organization and Russia.
And what was the result of those investigations?
They're still investigating it.
So that is why more sunshine is better. I mean, Kimberly, when you say she is smart enough to say she doesn't know. She doesn't know, which is a lot smarter than what most people did in the last 48 hours.
The ability to find out exactly what happened exists.
Where's the phone?
It exists. They can. You're not calling
Eric can call Trump.
Last word to Greg.
No, I can hear the laughter of Putin, who is winning right now. He's leveraging the fact that the Dems and the media can't get over losing, and it's all about proving to his failing state that we are a failing state. It's about creating chaos. That's all it's about. And it didn't matter. They're like, Russia is like the global skunk at the garden party. They didn't just spray Hillary. They wanted to spray everybody. They started with Hillary and Podesta, but they're getting everybody. An America that doesn't pay attention to North Korea or Iran is the America that Putin loves.
Excuse me. Are you telling me, are you really seriously saying what you just said?
What did I just say?
You said that Putin is loving this as if it happened?
Of course.
As if it happened?
They are loving every minute of this. It's all about undermining the very nature of this government.
Tapping the towers.
No, we do not know they were tapping.
At least, I'll give you that maybe President Obama can have some sort of plausible deniability around it, but we know the activity took place.
Plausible
We know
I will say this. The administration before had subpoenaed private records of Associated Press reporters, and including James Rosen. So,
that's exactly right. It was a matter of public record, too, wasn't it?
But that doesn't
Trump's
mean...
record is between his head.
Okay, you guys, we're going to, guess what? The great news is we get to talk about this again in the next block because we're going to get enough more reaction to the president's wiretapping allegations ahead. Plus, he signed a new revised travel ban today. Will this one hold up in the courts? Coming up.